Hello everyone. Today we are exploring one of the most chilling and enduring mysteries of the 20th century. The Dyatlov Pass Incident. This case has fascinated and terrified investigators, researchers, and mystery lovers for decades. It is a story of 9 experienced hikers who embarked on a journey into the snowy Ural Mountains of Russia in 1959, only to meet a tragic and unexplainable fate. Their deaths remain one of the strangest unsolved mysteries in modern history, filled with bizarre details, eerie discoveries, and questions that still have no clear answers. The story begins with Igor, a 23-year-old engineering student from the Ural Polytechnic Institute, who organized an expedition into the northern Ural Mountains. His group included 9 other young hikers, most of them university students, skilled in survival and winter trekking. Their goal was to reach a mountain named Otorten, a challenging but achievable journey for a group of their experience. They set out in late January 1959, equipped with skis, tents, and enough supplies for weeks. The group was full of energy, laughter, and determination. They kept diaries, took photographs, and documented their adventure. These diaries and photos, later found, showed a group of friends enjoying their trip despite the harsh cold, unaware that their journey would soon turn into a nightmare. On February 1st, the group made camp on the slopes of Kalatsia, a mountain whose name in the local Mansi language ominously means Mountain of the Dead. Snowstorms and poor visibility forced them to stop there instead of pressing forward. What happened after that night has baffled the world ever since. When the hikers failed to return on schedule, search teams were sent into the mountains. On February 26th, rescuers discovered their campsite. What they found shocked them. The tent was still standing but badly damaged, and it had been cut open from the inside. The hikers' belongings, clothes, boots, and equipment were left behind. It looked as though they had fled in a rush into the freezing night, with little or no clothing on. Tracks in the snow showed that the hikers had walked away from the tent barefoot or in socks, as if they had been forced out suddenly. About a mile down the slope, near the edge of a forest, searchers found the first 2 boys. They were near a small fire, wearing only underwear, showing signs of hypothermia. Soon, 3 more bodies were found between the forest and the tent, as though they had tried to crawl back to camp, but never made it. It took months for the remaining 4 hikers to be discovered, buried under deep snow in a ravine. These bodies revealed even stranger details. Some had severe internal injuries, broken ribs, crushed chests, and even one with a fractured skull yet. Their bodies showed no external wounds, as if the injuries had been caused by a massive force from inside. One woman was missing her tongue. Another was missing eyes. Clothing on some of them contained traces of radiation. Investigators were left puzzled. How could this happen? Why had the hikers cut their tent open from inside? Why would they flee into deadly cold without shoes or coats? And what caused such mysterious injuries? The Soviet authorities quickly launched an investigation. Their conclusion was vague. They stated that the hikers died from a compelling natural force. This phrase only deepened the mystery, as it explained nothing. The case was closed, and records were classified. For years, secrecy fueled speculation. Theories about the Dyatlov Pass incident are countless. Some believe it was an avalanche. The hikers may have heard snow shifting and panicked, cutting their way out of the tent to escape. But critics argue there was no evidence of a large avalanche, and the injuries did not match what an avalanche would cause. Others suggest infrasound, a type of low-frequency wind phenomenon, could have triggered panic. Certain winds in mountain areas can cause vibrations that affect the human body and mind, inducing fear, nausea, and hallucinations. Could this have caused the hikers to flee irrationally? Then there are theories of military involvement. The 1950s were the height of the Cold War. Some believe the hikers stumbled into secret military testing, such as parachute mines or experimental weapons, which could explain the strange injuries and radiation. Locals reported seeing glowing orbs in the sky during that time, which some believe were secret tests or even UFOs. Speaking of UFOs, extraterrestrial theories are among the most popular. Some argue that the glowing lights were crafts from another world, and the hikers were caught in a deadly encounter. The unexplained injuries, missing body parts, and radiation have all been linked to this theory. Others suggest darker possibilities, such as a Yeti attack. In fact, one of the hikers' cameras had a final photograph that some interpret as showing a shadowy figure in the snow. Could something unknown and terrifying have stalked the group in the night? Skeptics dismiss these wild ideas, pointing instead to a combination of natural causes: hypothermia, disorientation, frostbite, and the harsh environment may explain much of what happened. But even the most rational explanations cannot account for every detail: the radiation, the crushed ribs, the missing tongue. Over the decades, researchers, journalists, and adventurers have revisited the case, each trying to solve the puzzle. In 2019, Russian authorities reopened the investigation. Their conclusion was that a slab avalanche was to blame, where a block of snow slides down and crushes victims. While this theory explains some injuries, many still believe it fails to explain the bizarre circumstances and the hikers' frantic escape. The Dyatlov Pass Incident remains one of the greatest mysteries in history. It is a reminder of how fragile human life can be when faced with the power of nature or forces we may never understand. The hikers were young, full of dreams, laughter, and courage, yet they became part of a story that would outlive them by decades. Their families never received clear answers. Their friends were left with grief and confusion, and the world was left with endless questions. Did natural forces kill them, or was it something darker? Were they victims of a tragic accident, or were they witnesses to something never meant to be seen? Standing at Dyatlov Pass today, in the silent snow and biting wind, it is hard not to feel the weight of the mystery. The mountains hold their secrets tightly, and the truth of what happened that night in 1959 may never be fully known. What is certain, however, is that the Dyatlov Pass Incident has become more than just a case. It has become a legend, a story that continues to haunt and inspire. It forces us to confront the unknown, to wonder about the limits of human endurance, and to acknowledge that some mysteries may never be solved. Perhaps that is why we continue to talk about it, because deep down, we fear what we cannot explain. And the story of 9 hikers who vanished into mystery on a snowy mountain is one that will forever remain carved into history as one of the most chilling, unsolved enigmas of our time.